You felt it, deep in your bones. A quiet rebellion, a refusal to bow. The world screams for fame, likes, followers, hollow applause. But you'd rather walk alone, through the wilderness, through the dark, than trade your soul for a spotlight. Why? Because you're not like them. You're a Sigma male, and freedom is your only god. This is your story, not of glory, but of truth. Stay with me. Let's unravel why you choose this path. You've always known you're different, not louder, not prouder, just apart. The world moves in herds, chasing trends, chasing clout, but you stand still, watching, thinking, feeling the weight of their gaze. Why don't you play the game? They ask. Why don't you want what we want? You don't answer, not because you can't, but because they wouldn't understand. Your mind is a labyrinth, a maze of questions, ideas, truths. You see through the masks others wear, the smiles they fake, the lives they stage, and it isolates you. Not by choice, but by nature. Being different isn't a badge you wear. It's a burden you carry, a quiet ache, a silent strength. You've sat in rooms full of noise, laughter, chatter, empty boasts, and felt like a ghost, present but unseen. Your thoughts too deep for small talk, your heart too guarded for their games, and yet you don't resent them. You just don't belong. And that's okay, because belonging would cost you something sacred, your freedom. Fame is a siren's call, loud, seductive, promising everything, status, power, love. But you see it for what it is, a cage. Gilded, yes, but a cage nonetheless. The world worships the famous. They chase the spotlight. They crave the roar of the crowd. But you've looked into that abyss and seen its price. To be famous is to be owned by opinions, by expectations, by a system that demands your soul. You've watched the influencers, the celebrities, the so-called stars, polished on the outside, hollow within. They trade their truth for approval, their time for attention, their freedom for a script. And you think, not me, never me. Fame demands you perform, that you bend, that you break. But you're not built to kneel. Your spine is forged in silence. Your heart beats for something deeper, something real. You'd rather be unknown than untrue. Freedom isn't just a word to you. It's a flame, a quiet inferno in your chest. It's the air you breathe, the ground you walk, the reason you rise each day. Others chase wealth, power, validation. But you chase the open sky, the untamed horizon, the life that answers to no one. Freedom is your rebellion against the system that cages men, against the rules that bind souls. You don't need a stage. You don't need a crown. You need the wind in your face, the truth in your heart, the power to say, this is my path, and I walk it alone. But freedom isn't easy. It's not a gift. It's a choice, a fight. Every day you choose it. When you turn down the promotion, when you walk away from the crowd, when you silence the noise, you choose freedom, and it burns. Bright, fierce, eternal. You're brilliant, and yet invisible. Not because you lack talent, not because you lack strength, but because you refuse to shout, to beg, to perform. The world rewards the loud, the brash, the ones who sell their story. But you let your actions speak, your work, your truth. And if no one sees it, so be it. There's power in your invisibility, a quiet defiance. You don't need their eyes. You don't need their praise. You know who you are, and that's enough. But there's pain in it too. The world doesn't understand you. They call you aloof, cold, distant. They don't see the fire in your silence, the depth in your solitude. They don't know the battles you fight, within, alone. And yet, you don't explain. You don't justify. You just exist. A paradox. Seen but unseen. Known but unknown. Free but bound by your own truth. Your silence is your weapon, not the absence of words, but the presence of power. You don't speak to fill the void. You speak when it matters. And when you do, the world listens. Others talk to be heard. You listen to understand. You watch. You learn. You see what they miss. The cracks in their armor. The lies in their words. The truth they fear. Silence is your shield. It protects you from their noise, from their chaos. It keeps you grounded, centered, whole. But silence is also your sword. It cuts through the superficial. It pierces the illusions. It speaks louder than shouts. When you choose your words, they carry weight. They carry truth. They carry you. In a world that screams, your silence is rebellion. A quiet roar, a sacred vow. To be true, to be free, to be you. The system wasn't built for you. It rewards conformity, obedience, sacrifice. But you defy it. Not with fists, not with noise, but with choices. You say no to the 9-to-5 grind, no to the corporate ladder, no to the script they hand you. And it costs you opportunities, connections, comfort. They call you stubborn. They call you foolish. They don't see the truth. You're not rejecting success. You're rejecting their version of it. A version that chains you, that dims your fire, that steals your soul. Every no is a wound. Every step off their path is a risk. You've lost friends. You've lost chances. You've felt the sting of being left behind. But you keep walking because the cost of freedom is worth it. Every time. The system wants you tame, predictable, small. But you're none of those things. You're a storm, quiet but fierce. And you'll pay any price to stay free. Solitude is your sanctuary, not loneliness, not isolation, but a sacred space where you meet yourself, where you forge your truth. The world fears solitude. They fill their lives with noise, with people, with distractions. But you embrace it. You walk into the quiet and find strength. In solitude, you think, you question, you heal. You strip away the lies, the expectations, the masks, and what's left? You, raw, real, unbroken. Solitude isn't your escape. It's your forge, where you sharpen your mind, where you temper your heart, where you become. But it's not without pain. The world calls you distant. They don't see the battles you fight, the doubts you face, the longing for connection. But you know the truth. Solitude doesn't weaken you. It builds you into something rare, something powerful, something free. Your mind is your fortress, not a prison, but a stronghold, built on discipline, anchored in truth, guarded by resolve. You don't chase fleeting pleasures. You don't bend to fleeting pressures. You choose the harder path, the one that demands focus, patience, sacrifice. Others call it obsession. You call it purpose, a fire that drives you, a vision that guides you, a truth that grounds you. Your resolve is your power. It's why you rise after failure, why you walk through pain, why you stand when others fall. Not because you're fearless, but because you've faced your fears and chosen to keep going. The world tries to break you with doubt, with rejection, with noise, but your mind is unshakable, a quiet force, a silent vow to never betray yourself, to never lose your way, to never surrender your freedom. They don't get you, and they never will. The world sees your silence as weakness, your solitude as failure, your freedom as rebellion. They're wrong, but you don't correct them. You've heard their whispers. He's too quiet. He's too intense. He's too different. And you've felt the sting, the weight of being unseen, unvalued, misjudged. But you don't fight their judgment. You don't chase their approval. You know the truth. Their world is small. Their rules are chains. Their values are fleeting. You're not here to fit in. You're here to be free, to carve your own path, to live by your own code. And if they don't understand, that's their loss, not yours. The world may never see you, but you see yourself, and that's enough, more than enough. This is your awakening, not a moment, but a journey, a quiet revolution, a sacred choice. You've walked through the fire, felt the weight of being different, paid the cost of defying the system. And yet, you stand, not for fame, not for glory, but for freedom. You've chosen the untamed path, the one that leads to truth, to power, to yourself. And in that choice, you've found something rare, something sacred, your soul. This is why you choose freedom over fame, not because you're broken, not because you're lost, but because you're whole, because you're alive, because you're free. So keep walking, Sigma, through the silence, through the dark, through the world that doesn't understand. Your freedom is your fire. Your truth is your light. Your path is your own. And that is everything.